Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Something has happened. I don't know how to put it. I want to give up reading a cover. So, as you can see, here we have a cover, and here I have 2 pages of notes. I'm on page 228 out of 663 that has this edition in Spanish. I should be starting chapter 22, but I promise you I can. I literally almost started crying last night of me thinking that I still have 500 pages left to read of this book. You have no idea what this book is doing to me. I'm hating it so much. I cannot even put into words how much I hate it, how much I'm cringing all over this book. Every single fucking word or sentence I read makes me cringe. So, what I thought, since I only wanted to read this book for the sake of the channel, so how to try and make my way into BookTube, uploading a discussion of a book I knew I wasn't going to like. Actually, at the beginning I was like, oh my fucking god, what if I actually end up liking this book? That's not gonna happen. Even if I have more than half of the book left, there's no way I end up giving this more than 1 star. So what I've decided to record this video, call this part 1 of the discussion, and if someone who watches this video and comments me, keep reading, I want you to suffer, I want you to cringe more, I want you to fucking kill yourself because this book is horrible, then I will continue reading the book and I will upload the rest of the discussion. I'm sorry if you are here thinking this video is spoiler free. No, this is not going to be spoiler free. This is going to contain spoilers of the first 22 chapters of A Court of Wings and Ruin. So if you don't care about getting spoiled, stay here. We'll be sharing a spoiler for the first 22 chapters and the prologue. If you don't want to get spoiled, bye. So let's not waste our time. First I'm going to be talking about the writing. This is the worst writing style I've read in my life. My nephew of 1 year, that if you've seen any other of my YouTube videos, you usually can hear him screaming in the back. My nephew writes better than this woman that's written. Now this is the 3rd in this series and she had already written 6 in Throne of Glass, maybe 7, because I don't know if she had written the Chaos novella that ended up being a novel. But how can your writing be so wrong? She is repetitive, she is not compelling, she is boring. Not gonna talk more about it. You have to read it to understand what I'm talking about. It's really bad. It's really bad. She's written 9 books now, almost, and she hasn't gotten any better. Why? And how can someone that works in a publishing factory, however it's called, agree to publish this book? How can someone agree to publish this book? I won't understand, ever. Ever. At least the first 22 chapters can be summed up with Feta thinking she's the best, and that's it. That's the first 22 chapters. I decided that I'm going to be talking about each chapter. As I told you, I have here notes, and we're going to be starting with the prologue. You can skip it. You can 100% skip that prologue because it adds 0 to the story. It serves for nothing. We only see Rhysand going through a battlefield of dead people. That's it. Cool way to start a book. Now we move to the first chapter, in which Feyre is in the Spring Court, or how it's called in English. I don't remember. I'm not going to bother checking. I will tell you. I will have it written here, but I'm not going to be checking it now. And yeah, nothing else happens. She is painting, but the painting is a lie. Okay. And the references we get throughout the whole 22 chapters are just so boring. The titles of the paintings, see pictures in her head, are just so generic. The whole book is a really cliche, generic, stupid YA YA book. It's a book trying to be adult but failing completely. Completely. There's not one thing that I'm like, wow, this is because this should be adult. No, not even the sexist scenes. Cause I've read two. Yeah, I've read two, and I mean, okay, I almost skipped them because they were boring. Anyway, in the first chapter, we read the word maid 4 times, and then we are not introduced because we already know her, but there's a character called Ianthe, and we don't have a description for her. And moving on the story, the bad guys are just bad guys for the sake of being bad guys. They have no personality, they are just plain bad guys. You can ask them why are they bad, and they cannot give you an answer because they don't have one, because the author didn't think about it. And now we talk about some magic, that a pact that cannot be broken because no one knows how that magic of the pacts work, and of course no one knows because the author hadn't think about it. She just was like, oh, I want this, so she had it, and no explanation. I also don't like that anyone can do whatever they want. There's no logic to how magic works in this world. I usually don't care about magic systems. I think that you can create a world where you can do this and suddenly you have whatever you want. But I do think we have to establish some limits in what magic can do and can't do, and here we don't have those limits. Everything is so convenient. There's a scene in a frozen lake, this is farther in the story, in which Feyre just uses ice powers, and you're like, oh, since when do you have those powers? I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember the second book. Maybe they say so in the second book, but either in the second one or the third chapter, I don't remember. There are two princes that come, a prince and a princess, which I don't know their names, and I thought the woman was the guy and the guy was the woman, and it has confused me all the time until they die, because they were literally in the story for nothing. Anyway, and they try to read Tamlin's and Lucien's minds, and Feyre protects them, but she doesn't tell them. I mean, okay, you hate them because they've done bad things to you, which we're going to be talking about Tamlin. I feel bad for Tamlin. I felt bad for how much she destroyed his character there. I didn't like Tamlin in the first book. I was Team Rhysand because I knew there was going to be a love triangle, and I wanted to see the love triangle before starting shipping someone. And that happened to be Rhysand, who I ended up shipping her with. At first I was like, oh, Lucien, but then Rhysand appeared. But the character development she's done, it reminds me of what she did not to Chaol, because when she destroyed Chaol, he still was Chaol. She didn't change anything about him. She just changed, how was he called? Selena so much that Chaol was the only person that was telling her the truth. Why am I talking about Throne Glass? Forget it. Anyway, here Tamlin has gone. She destroyed Tamlin in every single way you can destroy a character, and I honestly feel bad for him. There's a scene in which, first let's talk about something else. So here, Feyre they have this plan, but I made them get that plan. It's like she's always one step ahead of her enemies. Like, you thought that because she wanted you to think that. You don't have a personality, you are not allowed to think yourself. You are doing that because she knew if she did this thing, she would make you do that. And yeah, I am like, why? You are not human, okay, but you are Fae, you can make mistakes, and just it would add more depth to Feyre's character if she thought that by doing something, this other person was going to do something else, and when she did this something, that other person didn't do what she expected that character to do, and that character does something different. That adds one more drama to the story. I mean, now Feyre can think, what do I do now? I have this plan, and this plan now is broken, let's put it that way. I have to think of something else, and it adds depth to this other character that's there for the sake of being there. You give him a personality. He's not doing just what the main character wants. He's doing what he or she wants. But I guess Sarah J. Maas is just Sarah J. Maas. All this comes because there's a scene in which there's something the summer solstice, I think, and Feria moved a rock and then made the light come to herself because she was angry at Ianthis. That's what her name was? Yeah, Ianthis. And what I want to complain about this thing first is they call her Cuddle Breaker. Okay, excuse me, are you trying to imitate Breaker of Chains from A Song of Ice and Fire? And it's not it's not the only reference I got from A Song of Ice and Fire. Further in the story they say we're playing the game or something similar, and why? Please be more unique. I don't mean it's a bad thing to grab some stuff of different sources and put them into your story, but when you have so many things that are from another series and just one series, it feels wrong. It feels like you are trying to imitate something. And on the back of the book it says, George R.R. Martin fans, pick up this book. Yeah, we will pick up this book to throw it into a fire so we can burn. I feel bad for the trees that were cut to create these pages. There's another scene in which she fakes to have PTSD, and first I feel insulted, not because of me, I don't have PTSD, but for every single other person that has PTSD. She fakes having a nightmare and having PTSD to use Lucien to make Tumbling jealous, to make them unstable. Have you guys ever used a friend? Because if you have, I'm sorry, but you're a horrible person, because you calling yourself a friend to other person means you wouldn't use that person to get what you want. And I'm like number one selfish person. Yeah, that just felt wrong, and I just needed to point it out and hate on it. There's another thing, and throughout all the time Feyre spends in Tamlin's court, she has a plan that we are not told what plan it is. And this book is in first person, a really lame first person. And if you are going to make a first person book, I don't think you can hide the main character's plan from the reader, since I'm supposed to be in her mind. I'm supposed to know what she is thinking, unless you give me a reason. For example, Sarah J. Maas could have said at the beginning of the book, when the two princes come, that Feyre is going to try to avoid thinking of her plans, just in case these two princes can read her mind and know about this plan. You tell me that, and I'm like, okay, that's believable. I believe that you won't think of that plan, but because you already know it. But she didn't, and I'm here complaining about it. I have a note of chapter 7 when she gets disgusted about one of the two princes that says one of the best things about war was having sex with the people, not the people you kill, but your enemies, I think it was. I don't remember correctly, and I don't have it written here. And I know at the end of the story, if you don't want to listen to what I'm going to say, because it's at the end, I'm going to be holding the book, and when I'm done talking about it, I'll put it down again. I'm going to start talking about it now. I know further in the story, she gives, in the war, she gives a blowjob to Rhysand, and they're in the middle of the war, and people are dying outside, and you just complain about someone else having sex in a war when you are going to do it later. If I ever finish this book, I complain about it in the next video. In chapter 8, we get the Indaga attack, and the guard is left while on watch, and he lost the keys to the manor. And what really happened was that Ianthe made that guard sleep. Ianthe asked for the keys and made that guard sleep, then make him forget. and Tablet is going to wipe this dude, and when this is happening, Feira, who has suppressed that memory, makes that memory, the memory of Yanthi doing that bad stuff, makes that memory resurface, and the guard says, no, it was you, to Yanthi, and Feira is like, I wanna listen to your story. Okay, no one listens to his story, and Tamlin wipes him because there are the bad guys here and they are watching, and he is believing the priestess over his own guards, and that's what's going to be making the court unstable because the guards doesn't trust Tamlin anymore. And we're supposed to believe that Feira is a badass, she is the best, she calculates and manipulates people, and she is doing everything to win the war. And to be honest, I'm disgusted about her. I mean, think about it. We are blaming Yanthis for these guards getting wiped, but Feira knew all along because she says that when she made the light come to herself, she knew Ianthis was going to make this Naga attack and steal the keys to the keep. I'm gonna call it a keep, and we are going to be going away soon, so let's call Tamlin's place a keep. Well, she knew that Ianthis was going to steal the keys, and she told no one. No one. How many people died in the Naga attack? I ask you. We don't know because we are not told, but we are not told because Feira didn't ask, and Sarah J. Maas didn't want us to know. Because there probably were casualties. And those casualties are because of Feira as well, not just Ianthis. She is not badass, she is stupid, she is ruthless, and she is a bad leader. Not to mention that the guard getting wiped is Feira's fault as well. I'm not saying Ianthis is not to blame, of course she is to blame, and I know she's done really bad stuff, but still, Feira is not a good character. Now we get to chapter 9, is when Feira is gonna leave, and Ianthi is trying to force her way into Lucien's pants, and Feira sees when she's leaving, and she's like, no! And, she makes Ianthi break her hand with a rock, and we get a whole page of a monologue of Feira saying that you will never touch your way into any other man, or something like that, and it's hashtag female empowerment, violation, rape is bad, we get it, you don't need to put it into one whole page, thank you. I don't say it's bad that it's there, I think it's really good that she added that thing here, just to younger people that, to be honest, is who this book is supposed to go. Can understand that forcing your way into another person is something bad, and the other way around, if other person is trying to force his way or her way into you, that's bad. You should not admit it, accept it, if you don't want to. And I think it's good, but you don't need one complete page about it. And in chapter 11 start the completely useless dreams. Yeah, because there's no point in her dreaming. Her dreams don't serve for anything, they are not prophetic, they are only there to waste more trees. Because otherwise I don't understand why we have dreams. I remember 2, maybe there are more. Another thing I want to complain about is that Lucien is so in love with one of... It's not Nesta, it's the other Feira's sister. And to be honest, he's seen her once. And he's already acting like they are soulmates, they are going to rule the world, they should have babies and everything like that. Oh, I know. She is his mate. Cuidado! I'm reading the notes and I forgot to note anything about chapter 13, so we are going to think it's completely useless and worthless, and that's why I didn't feel the need to actually write something down. Oh yeah, in chapter 14 start the "It is your choice" arc of the story that started in the previous book. This is Rizan being #feminist, he wants Feira to make her own choices. You are pink, it is your choice, dude. Chill! I've read so many times. It was my choice. Because with reasons, it was always my choice. Okay, I understand it. You don't have to put it every 2 pages. And we get a really disgusting and made me wanna vomit conversation between Rizan and Feyre. And it's something like Rizan wanted to clean Feyre's body with his tongue when she is covered in mud, blood, because she hasn't cleaned herself in a week. And let me talk to you. I don't even know how to put it. So Lucien and Feyre walked through the whole autumn court in a week. I'm going to show you how big the autumn court is. So, I cannot see it. No, it's here. Okay. So, they were here, okay? And this is autumn court. Okay, they made their way through this whole court in a week. Without magic. I wish I had 1/4 of the stamina they have. Just 1/4. I don't ask for more. 1/4. Chapter 15 had 14 times made being said. And once it was 3 times in the same sentence. See why I dislike this book? Don't make me read this, please. And we see Nesta and Cassian interact, and they are mates. Yes, they are. And it feels too convenient. I mean, why can't you leave one fucking character without a partner? It's not that hard. Life is not... In real life, you don't get everyone with a couple. I'm single, and I'm happy being single. Why don't we have a character that is happy being single? I literally wrote in chapter 17, sexist, disgusting, I want to vomit. And it's because Cassian said that he wanted it's because he objectified females, stating that the only reason why females were introduced in Rizan's, Athriel's, and Cassian's cycle was because Cassian wanted to look at something pretty. When I read that, I think here was when I had the breakdown. No, it was at the end of chapter 16 when I had the breakdown and I almost started crying. And I'm going to be showing you the clip now. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So, this is an update on A Court of Wings and Ruin. I'm in chapter 17 and I'm cursing the day I decided to read this book. You don't know how much I'm hating it. It's so boring. It's so badly written. It feels like my nephew that is almost 2 years old wrote it. I don't know, overall the book is so cringe, and I've considered TNFing the book 3 or 4 times in every single chapter I read. But I want to make the discussion. I want to be able to hate this book having read it. But I just had a really big breakdown because when I realized I still have around 500 pages to read, I almost started crying. I was like, no, I need this book to be over. That's the only reason why I keep reading it, because I want this book to be over. I want to be over reading this book, and I'm so not reading the sequel. At first I thought, well, I can read this book and then read A Court of Frost and Starlight. I know nothing really happens in that book, but just so I'm able to hate it. But no, I'm not reading that book. I'm just hating this so much. At first I thought, what if I actually end up liking it? Like, I thought that I was gonna hate it, so my expectations were really low. What if that makes me like it? But no, I promise my expectations were really low, And yet this book managed to be even worse than what I was expecting it to be. The only way I will read the sequel is if suddenly we have a huge redemption for this book and Sarah J. Maas in general. And so if you've seen any other of my videos that I don't like saying like the video or subscribe to the channel, because I think we all are free to like or dislike and subscribe or not subscribe to anyone, and I don't like forcing you to like the video or dislike it. But the only way I'm reading the sequel is if this video gets to, I don't know, 1000 likes. I hope it never reaches 1000 likes, like, ever. But never. I'm probably not adding this part of the video because I'm really not reading the sequel. And I know this is the beginning. I know how Sarah J. Maas works. She makes like the first 300 pages of the books are always boring, and then it starts picking up. And not the first 300 pages, the first half of the book is always boring, and then it starts picking up the pace. It starts getting better. But this book, guys, and I read my review for A Court of Mist and Fury, and I don't know what happened to that person in the past that's become this person in the future, but how did I like it? There's no way I liked it. I just keep grabbing other books and having them on top of my legs, being like, what if I just read at least one page of a normal book, a book that I know I'm already reading and I'm already liking, or I don't know, read a chapter of The Red Scrolls of Magic that I also want to read. But I think that reading something else while reading this book will somehow taint my opinion, because if, as I just told you, I almost start crying because I still have 500 pages left. Maybe if I had to read, say, one chapter of The Red Scrolls of Magic, I wouldn't have felt this way. And you know what I mean? And it's 1 a.m. I think you call it 1 a.m. I don't know. The moon is out and it's 1 o'clock and I should be sleeping. You know what I mean? Well, it's that time and I'm literally not going to sleep because I don't want to wake up. Because if I wake up, that means I have to read this book. I want to finish it in a week from now on. Not a week from now on, in 5 days. And I read that I calculated it because scientist, and I have to read almost 100 pages a day to be able to finish it. It was not 100 pages, it was 98. Well, 97 point something. And I really don't want to read 100 pages a day. But I want to finish this book already. I hate this, I promise you guys, I hate this. I really hope you enjoy I really hope I finish the video, and I really hope I upload the discussion. And I really hope you enjoy the discussion video. Anyway, see you, well, you will see me in like 1 second, and I'll see you in 5 days when I finally finish the book and recorded the discussion. I literally started the book yesterday. I read more than I thought today, or I started this book 3 days ago. I don't know. I know I read 50 pages, then I read until page 80 something, and now I'm in page 174, I think. Yeah, I probably started the book 3 days ago. Yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to tell you guys that. Okay, after this clip, I hope you've made up your mind, that you've decided that you're not going to force me to keep reading the book. So we've already talked about chapter 17, and we're going to be moving to chapter 19. And there's the sentence that has made me cringe the most. And it says something similar to, 2 males making me sweat in the same morning, what can a female do? Why? That's... No. What made me cringe wasn't that she was implying that she was going to be sweating. She was. She just had sex with Rizan and now was going to be training with Cassian. But one, that sentence is completely useless. I know you've added it to make us go ha 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 ha. I didn't go ha 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 ha. I went like ugh. Yeah. So I reacted to it in a different way. But do you really have to state male and female? Can you say guy, boy, girl, non-binary? Oh, alright, we don't have representation here, sorry. I also wrote are we Shadowhunters now because I mean Feira goes that she was seeing Cassian's tattoos that gave him strength and something else, and yeah, I had to write, oh, now we are Shadowhunters. Chapter 20. Now, here is when we are going to be talking about hashtag Rizan feminist, hashtag Rizan for president. So we get to a library that is in a mountain, I think. I don't know. I read this morning. Not this morning, this afternoon at 6 p.m. And it's 1 a.m. I mean, it hasn't been that much time and I already forgot. Anyway, we get to a library that's ruled by women and there are only women there. And the thing is that he says that he but he made the people that were in that library move to another library, and he made the women that had been raped stay at this library as a way of healing. And first, Rizan for president. And second, hashtag it is your choice. Because he says it was their choice if they wanted to stay a day, a week, a lifetime. And I'm like, please stop with it is your choice. We know you're a feminist. Move on. There are other ways to be a feminist. You don't have to be all the time. It is your choice. No, it is your choice. No, it is your choice. I know it is my choice. Leave me alone. It is my choice to stop reading this book. Don't make me read this book. Another thing I want to complain, as I just told you, the women in this library, there are women that have been raped by men, of course, because men, and Feyre and Rizan start touching each other and getting all sexy. And I know it doesn't have to be triggering, but it feels wrong for some reason to me. I mean, I'm just thinking, they are in a library, first. Second, a library ruled by women that had been raped, and you can think of nothing else to start doing than touching your girlfriend's vagina or your boyfriend's dick. I don't know, I think it's disrespectful for their part, as I just told you that it doesn't have to be triggering. They didn't get to fuck, but still, it feels disrespectful towards these women that had been raped. They were forced to have sex with, and who knows what else. Yeah, so he goes out like, I'm feminist, but in reality, he is stupid. In chapter 21, this is a whole complete useless chapter that is there for the sake of being there, because there's not one good thing we've taken out of this. And Feyre goes to interrupt Nesta, and I realize I'm just complaining about some stuff and I'm not actually telling you what's happening in the story. So Nesta and Amren are going to practice together because Amren and Nesta are similar or something along the way of that. And Feyre just interrupts them. I mean, your sister, who hasn't agreed to anything up until now, agrees to practice using her magic to repair the wall you want to repair. This wall doesn't separate white workers from Andals, First Men and all that. No. This wall separates humans from not humans. Anyway. And it's invisible, it's not made of ice. They want to repair the wall because it has 3 spots where there's no wall. And Nesta has agreed to practice, and you cannot think of another thing to do rather than, hey, I might go and bother my sister that has finally decided to do something. So she goes there and starts asking questions and starts interrupting. I mean, She is practicing. Do you like being interrupted when you practice? Anything, something while you study? I don't. Why do you bother them? Is your life more important than your sister practicing, actually doing something? And we finish this chapter with a completely useless dream. Yeah, that's how chapter 21 ends and how I finished. I've actually started chapter 22, but I don't remember what I read. So, what has happened in the story so far? Nothing. Nothing. We are 100 pages in the spring court, and then we leave the spring court to go to the night court, and still nothing happens. I've read more than 200 pages that could have been easily summarized into 50. Because we go in the beginning in the spring court, we go 3 times to the wall, and you could have, and the first 2 doesn't happen, and you can make those 2 times be in the same chapter you are going to be talking about the third one, and just summarize. Since we went to the other 2 spots and the bad guys analyzed the holes in the wall, and they wanted to check the third as well, we now move to the third, and we are now in the third. I've summarized what happens in those 2 chapters that we visit the world those other 2 times in 1 sentence. 2 maybe. But yeah, this is me complaining about 21 chapters of A Court of Wings and Ruin, or as I want to put it, A Court of me wanting to kill myself. I hope you hated this book as much as I did. I hope you are not going to be forcing me to keep reading this book, and I actually hope you don't watch this video, because if you watch this video, that means you are going to be forcing me to finish this book. And there's no way I'm going to be reading the sequel. And by sequel I mean the novella, The Accord of Frost and Starlight. Even if you force me to finish this book, I'm not reading that other book. You can dislike this video, you can not subscribe to my channel, I don't care. I'm not putting myself through that. Making my way through 223 pages of this nonsense was enough. And I'm not even going to bother finishing Throne of Glass, because if I finish this book, I know how Throne of Glass is going to end, since A Court of Mist and Fury was exactly the same as Empire of Storms. Anyway guys, see you next time, bye!